Hello and welcome to Aniview Solo Reviews. I'm Lyzl, and today I'll be reviewing Generator Gawl. Generator Gawl was made by Tatsunoko Productions in 1998. It's 12 episodes long, and it's an adventure, drama, science fiction series. Gawl, Koji, and Ryoko live in a future not too far from our own. With the invention of time travel, they've decided to travel to the year 2007, when the discovery of how to create generators takes place. This is because, in their future, the devastating Third World War is prompted by the military use of these generators. Half metallic, half organic beings, they look like humans but can transform into powerful creatures. Gawl is one such generator. Using Gawl's powers to hold off enemy generators and Koji and Ryo's intellect, together they hope to stop the invention of these destructive beings, even at the cost of their own lives. I found Generator Gawl to be a fascinating sci-fi, incorporating many classic sci-fi elements, time travel especially. Unfortunately though, it spends too much of its time on Gawl's immaturity and antics, causing it to fall short as a science fiction piece. Generator Gawl's animation is dated, generic, and dull. Yeah, it's okay to look at, but surely disappointing to those looking for a layer of polish or innovation in their anime. The movement is choppy, and they make the action almost not worth watching. The character designs and generator designs are also not much to look at. So it's unfortunate, but there just isn't much here for someone looking for good animation qualities. Generator Gawl's opening song is fun to listen to and fits the atmosphere of the series too. I felt that the techno undertones really worked well for the series, and I especially liked the lyrics in this opening song. The ending song, on the other hand, I just didn't like it so much. It seemed a bit weird to me and outside of the normal realm of sci-fi songs, especially when you pair it with the ending animation, and it just doesn't seem to work. The series itself was generally lacking in music. The battle scenes had a beat to them, and some of the everyday scenes had some background music, but I mean, overall, you're just not hearing much music in this series. Alright, so now let's get on to story. Generator Gawl is an odd mixture of slice of life, romance, drama, action, battles, and sci-fi. It's really just all over the map when I think about it. You have all these elements coming together and none of them really stand out except for maybe the sci-fi, which is what I really enjoyed about the series. They had some cool ideas about time travel, human improvements, and how the Third World War might come about. But really, they could have done a better job of putting a focus on the series so that it didn't get so diluted with all these different elements. Fortunately, it kind of turns into a crazy sci-fi drama the farther you get into the series, which is kind of cool and what I was looking most forward to when I was coming into the series. It's too bad though, because it starts off so poorly with a generic slice of life type story, where Gawl acts up, and then his friends come and quiet him down, and it's kind of like a bad 80s sitcom, and I'm almost expecting them to say, "Oh, Gawl," and pan the camera close and you hear the laugh track go. I mean, that's not exactly what I want in my sci-fi series. I think one of the things I was most disappointed with was the fight scenes, because they just weren't really good. And it kind of sucks considering they had this great opportunity to show off these cool generators, half human, half cyborg monster creatures in epic battles to save the planet. I mean, how do you screw that up? Well, with bad animation, I guess. And then they try to have a romantic-esque aspect to it between Gawl and Masami, one of the girls that they meet in this time frame. And I'm not sure whether to say it was played up or if it was played down, but overall, I just didn't like it much. I felt that every time they were doing romantic stuff, it just felt it was detracting from the experience more than helping it. And so they probably could have just done without that, to be honest. And I think that's what most of Generator Gawl's problems boiled down to. It only had 12 episodes, and yet it focused on too many things. So you never really felt like you could get attached to any specific element because it always was switching and had so many different aspects you were supposed to keep track of. Thankfully though, the ending was a blast to watch, and just piles on the crazy, lots of sci-fi goodies and drama for everyone. It may have been a case of too little too late for myself though, because I just wasn't completely caught up in it, even though that I admit it's pretty good. Alright, so now let's move on to characters. Gawl is your all-too-typical male lead. He's loudmouthed, perverted, and much too eager to jump into the action. He definitely moves the series along, as most male leads do, but I found him kinda meh. I kinda liked that he seemed to learn a bit later on in the series, but really, the show should have done better than this. Then we have Koji, who is the most serious and quiet of the group. I kinda liked him for that. He actually shut his face and thought about things, which is good when you're dealing with crazy sci-fi time traveling stuff. He's a little too cold most of the series though, and that's what really prevents him from being that likable, but he does get a pretty cool revelation by the end of the series, which kinda makes up for it. Lastly, we have Ryoko, who I probably liked most out of the three of them. He was smart, but he also had a kind of guilt trip quality to him, and was oversympathetic to people in general, especially Gawl. You learn later why this is, and I thought that gave him a bit more dimension as a character than the other two. That's not to say that Gawl doesn't have multiple dimensions, but the focus is really on his kick the door in attitude, which I'm just so used to and so over with. Ryoko also gets an awesome revelation, and I'm sure that by now you've realized that a lot of stuff happens at the end of this series, rather than the beginning, which, I kinda think wasn't even worth making. Alright then, there are only really three other major characters in the series. You have Masami, who is an important character because she kinda shows how a normal person would react to the guy's, let's go with cultural ineptitude. She really brings out the slice of life and romance aspects of the series, which I didn't like, but it's not like she's a horrible character or anything. Natsume, on the other hand, she's the kind of quote-unquote pretty girl of the series, and she is incredibly dull, having explicitly zero personality. Turns out she's pretty important later on in the series, but I really could have used some more character depth. And last we've got Ryoko, the evil scientist chick. Just think crazy lady and you're probably not far off. She was decent as a villain, but I just didn't get much of a signature out of her. She was just kinda there being all evil-like. So, that's about all I have to say about the cast for Generator Gawl. It's alright, but some more depth, development, and just overall personality would have been good. Like having actual character in your characters. I thought that might be a good idea sometimes. I gotta say, I was disappointed with Generator Gawl overall. I mean, they had a great concept, time travel, generators, and craziness, but then they chose to focus on this generic slice of life story for the first half of the series, before they get into anything good. I mean, why? Oh well, you win some and you lose some. I'm gonna give Generator Gawl 3 out of 5 stars. It definitely had some cool stuff in it, so it might be worth checking out, but overall, I'm afraid you might be disappointed. So if you have any questions, comments, or requests, you can send them to aniview@hotmail.com or send us a comment on our YouTube page. You can also drop us a line at aniviewreviews.com, where we house our full collection of videos. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.